If you need something to get your adrenaline going, this should do the trick. Hey people, Voice talking to you, and today we're checking out VOIDBREAKER, a cyberpunk FPS roguelike with completely destructible environments and highly modifiable weapons. If you'd like to try this game out for yourself or see my full playthrough stream, there are links to both down in the description. We are an employee, or maybe a prisoner, to a sentient AI built by a mysterious megacorporation called VOIDAXIS. Codenamed Idris, this malevolent intelligence keeps us locked in a perpetually looping combat simulation, endlessly gathering data as we try and fail to make our way out of each zone. Now, I admittedly have no idea what it's doing with this data. Considering the nature of this machine, it could be to create the perfect warfare algorithm or to learn how to most effectively battle against heavily armed humans. But judging by the loudspeakers in each area proclaiming Idris as a god, my guess is it's out of control and it probably isn't gathering this data to help sell junk off Temu. We aren't the first runner to be trapped in this loop. In fact, we can find the corpse of our predecessor hidden in a crawl space beneath our sterile living quarters. Considering he seems to be, dead, I'm not sure how he's able to speak to us. But this is all just a simulation anyways, so there's no telling how much of what we can see is actually real. Anyway, our new friend is convinced there's a way to break this infinite cycle and escape the simulation together. With his help, we can search for encryption keys and bits of malware that we can use to force our way into new areas and uncover the secrets of the digital construct we're trapped in. Of course, to do that, we'll have to play the AI's twisted game and make each run count. Every run is broken up in typical roguelike style, with each encounter zone structured as an island that can be reached only by crossing through the ones before it. Every few zones will offer a split path that gives the player a choice for their next encounter, but they always lead back to the same place in the end, so the path is pretty linear overall. We cross between these islands by way of short platforming segments, including grind rails and rotating lasers to dash and dodge between. It's a solid way to break up the rhythm and keep things fresh between encounters. I also like these little in-between segments because the movement feels stupidly good. Animations are quick and smooth, the controls are highly responsive, and the mix of dashing, jumping, sprinting, and sliding makes mobility one of the most important aspects of combat. Once you get the hang of it, you can pull off some incredible maneuvers in the heat of battle. I'm not exaggerating when I say that the locomotion in this game feels better than probably 90% of the shooters that I've played. Now, this is also a game made by a single developer, which makes the fine-tuned controls and stunning visuals even more impressive. It has the same kind of vibes as games like Superhot, with geometric patterns overlaid with hyper-realistic terrain and simulated architecture. Enemy models are varied and offer subtle hints about their abilities. Though I didn't see much variety in the different structures and islands in the playtest, the AI watching our battles will adapt to our intrusions. According to our friend, once we clear a zone, the system will never generate that same encounter again. Overall, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot to explore in this game. Each zone is pretty small and self-contained, with procedurally generated environments and a few crates of currency dotting the edges of each island. Personally, I'd like it if the loot was mixed up with the structures themselves, but I can also see how the wanton destruction could make it difficult to collect them. Yeah, just about everything is destructible. Not only can we smash our way through windows with our face, we can collapse entire buildings on our enemies. In fact, this is actually one of the most important parts of combat. Every enemy can be stunned by hitting them with explosive attacks, throwing objects at them, or dropping terrain on them. Stunned enemies not only take more damage and can't attack, but they'll drop additional resources like health and ammo when defeated. This is where the Doom-like elements of this game really shine. Utilizing the environment is the best way to heal ourselves and keep our magazines full. But that means we have to be hyper aware of our surroundings and utilize some creative combat tactics. In addition to our dash, we have access to an impact grenade that recharges every few seconds, and a gravity tether that can snatch up and fling rubble, furniture, and explosive barrels at enemies and support structures. Using these abilities alongside our impressive mobility creates a frantic and explosive combat experience that rewards battlefield awareness and quick thinking. I cannot express how satisfying it is to leap out of a third-story window just to turn around midair and drop a building on the bots behind us. The cool part is, that's all just the functional side of combat. When we start a run, we can choose which weapon to bring with us. The playtest only showed off the pistol and the assault rifle, but there seem to be several more planned for the full version. Each weapon has its own strengths, as well as a unique modification grid we can use during our run to customize it. This grid is less about applying physical attachments to our weapons and more about building a loadout of buffs and abilities. We can find mods and loot crates after clearing an encounter, or purchase them from shops we pass through if we have the money. Mods come in different rarities, with rarer versions offering more powerful effects. These mods can apply elemental effects to our bullets, cause explosives to drop when we destroy a structure, increase our overall damage, change our weapon's firing mode, or even unlock new abilities like blasts of fire or gravity attacks. If you know how crazy guns can get in games like Borderlands, then this is along those lines. You could literally make a pistol that fires bursts of seeker rockets, or a freezing rifle with an inane rate of fire. The grid itself is also something of a puzzle. In addition to the mods I mentioned, there are attachments that can unlock new grid slots or multiply the effects of other mods. Repeaters, for example, increase the impact of a mod in a target slot or direction. But we have to be selective, as these often cancel the effects of other attachments in other positions. Putting together a solid build is super satisfying, and with the right combination, it's possible to build a weapon so powerful that you can literally melt right through a boss's health bar. Oh my god! Remember how I said they should not have given me that upgrade? Oh, it's just too easy. Yeah, so maybe some of the mods need to be nerfed just a little bit. The build I just showed stacked several instances of flat damage boosts with a mod that multiplies damage based on the amount of bullets in the magazine. This was only my second time fighting the boss, by the way, and I absolutely shredded him, so either spreading out how long it takes to become that powerful or rebalancing the mods themselves may be necessary to keep things challenging. That said, the degree of freedom the player has when customizing their build mixed with the highly variable map generation and fantastic combat experience makes this a highly replayable title right from the get-go. However, I would definitely like to see some more advancement available to the player. In that crawl space I mentioned before, there are a couple of kiosks that let us spend resources to permanently upgrade our character, as well as purchase the rifle, so expanding what's available there would be a good first step. I also feel like adding some side objectives, such as slaying a certain number of enemy to unlock an informational entry about them somewhere, or even including discoverable weapon cosmetics would give the player more rewards for each playthrough. In a repetitive roguelike title, you always want the player to be earning something for each run, and those would be some good places to start. Regardless of how impressed I am by the fact that a single developer made such a well-coordinated title with insane sound and visual design, not every player is going to be satisfied by this one. If you aren't a fan of fast-paced titles or looping roguelikes, then this might not be your cup of tea. Also, the story is interesting, but not especially deep, so those looking for a juicy narrative probably aren't going to find it here. But with that said, if those things don't bother you, then I think we found a real gem here. The gameplay is tight and incredibly satisfying, the combat is frantic and fresh, and the customization system is entirely off the rails. Overall, this is looking to be a wonderfully unique experience with some awesome depth and killer visuals. I'm all here for it. But I'm also just the voice in your head, so what do you think of VOIDBREAKER? Do you wish the world was a bit more fleshed out, or are you just excited to smash through a building with your face? What do you think about the customization system here? What additions would you like to see in the finished game? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like or a comment helps me out a ton and gives me enough ammo for just one more run. If you want more, subscribing is the best way to support the channel and keep new content coming your way because I put out new stuff every week. Thanks so much for listening to me today, and you'll be hearing from me again real soon. God, I love that you can just smash through windows with your face. Oh, that feels great. Oh!